From the 4th to the 6th of April 2019, EGX Rezzed returned to the Tobacco Docks in London for another round of PC-centric gaming fun. And seeing as SEGA were a registered partner at the event, we thought it was necessary to go and see the level of their involvement. As is the norm with SEGA and EGX events, SEGA were sponsoring the Left Field Collection, an area of Rezzed which showcased the more bizarre and experimental side of indie game development. This includes experiences like DOGGERLAND Radio, which sees you navigating an area based on sound alone. The table presented you with a map, an instruction booklet, a set of headphones and a radio. Listening through the headphones would present you with the sounds of the different areas featured on the map, and you had to use the tuning dial to navigate the world. Definitely one of the more unique experiences on offer. Then there was Pattern. An explorative first-person title which presented you with a gorgeous and somewhat lifeless landscape with scenery that would phase into existence as you got closer to it. This was an extremely atmospheric game that reminded us of similar first-person experiences like PIETERSE. Next up we took a look at CYBERPET Graveyard, which essentially gives you access to a series of folders that are home to a bunch of haunted virtual pets. This was a very silly and carefree experience that basically amounted to clicking on the various pets and seeing how they reacted to you. One extremely unique title came in the form of Void of Memory, a visual novel that you interacted with via an incredibly engaging contraption that asked you to connect the various elements to other parts and manipulate their other pieces to forward the story. It was an incredibly striking contraption that you couldn't help but find yourself fascinated with, certainly one of the highlights at the event. Finally we had a go at DOKEY Paradise, which appears to be a minigame collection with a heavy emphasis on cats. One of the games tasks you with keeping a ball of yarn in the air using a row of cat paws that can be extended by pressing their corresponding buttons. Another game saw you using the same control scheme to separate different coloured balls of yarn into their appropriate position. Again, this was quite a frivolous and simple title that amused with its presentation. Outside of the Left Field collection, we did spot some SEGA items elsewhere. The tabletop gaming area featured a selection of board games you could borrow and play in the space, and two of them were adaptations of SEGA arcade titles Zaxxon and Turbo, not something you see very often in the wild. Insert Coin had a stall at Rezzed as well, and we spotted Streets of Rage, Jet Set Radio and Shenmue clothing being sold. Speaking of sellers, it was cool to see some statues from the SEGA Toys line which are normally obtained via Japanese UFO captures. Some real premium figures available here. It was a shame that SEGA weren't exhibiting any of their own titles at this year's Rezzed, but all in all there was still some SEGA love to be found. It was another enjoyable day out at a UK Games event that took place in the rather unique and distinctive Tobacco Docks venue.